Isaiah 34. Come near, you nations, and listen. Pay attention, you people. The earth and everything in it contains must listen. The world and everything that lives in it. For the Lord is angry at all the nations and furious with all their armies. He will annihilate them and slaughter them. Their slain will be left unburied. Their corpses will stink. The hills will soak up their blood. All the stars of the sky will fade away. The sky will roll up like a scroll. All its stars will wither like a leaf withers and falls from a vine, or a fig withers and falls from a tree. It says, Indeed, my sword has slaughtered heaven's powers. Look, it now descends on Edom. On the people I will annihilate in judgment. The Lord's sword is dripping with blood. It is covered with fat. It drips with blood of young rams and goats. It is covered with the fat of rams' kidneys. For the Lord is holding sacrifice in Basra, a bloody slaughter in the land of Edom. Wild oxen will be slaughtered along with them, as well as strong bulls. Their land is drenched with blood, their soil is covered with fat. For the Lord has planned a day of vengeance, a time when he will repay Edom for her hostility toward Zion. Edom's streams will be turned into pitch, and her soil into brimstone. Her land will become burning pitch. Night and day it will burn, its smoke will ascend continually. Generation after generation, it will be a wasteland, and no one will ever pass through it again. Owls and wild animals will live there. All kinds of wild birds will settle in it. The Lord will stretch out over her the measuring line of ruin and the plumb line of destruction. Her nobles will have nothing left to call a kingdom, and all her officials will disappear. Her fortresses will be overgrown with thorns, thickets, and weeds will grow in her fortified cities. Jackals will settle there. Ostriches will live there. Wild animals and wild dogs will congregate there. Wild goats will bleat to one another. Yes, nocturnal animals will rest there and make for themselves a nest. Owls will make a nest and lay eggs there. They will hatch them and protect them. Yes, hawks will gather there, each with its mate. Carefully read the scroll of the Lord. Not one of these creatures will be missing. None will lack a mate. The Lord will issue the decree, and his own spirit gathers them. He assigns them their allotment. He measures out their assigned places. They will live there permanently. They will settle in through successive generations. Okay, so Isaiah 34. Come near, you nations, and listen. So this it says nations, plural. So it's a cry to all those nations around. Pay attention, you people. The earth and everything in it contains must listen. So the entire earth is happening. So, or the whole earth needs to be listening. The world and everything lives in it. The Lord is angry at all the nations and furious with all its armies. He will annihilate them and slaughter this. Okay, let's not overlook this. The Lord is angry with all nations. Yes, all nations. And furious with all their armies. Why? Because they are using their armies to oppress other people. If you're worried about what politicians are doing, I'm more worried about their actions than social media posts. So I'm more concerned with actions they're taking towards oppression of other people, using their armies against other nations, bullying, any of that stuff. Things that cause people harm are the things I'm going to be concerned about. So here, God is calling attention to all of that. This is nothing new. So history repeats itself. People in power are going to do what people in power do. And one of those is oppress the poor, the outcast, the needy, the foreigner, and the widow. The poor, the widow, the orphan, and the foreigner. Those are the four groups of people that continuously we see throughout the Bible are ostracized, pushed down, and abused by those in power. And here we also have this is armies going against, and God says, I'm going to annihilate them. Like, in other words, you might be able to fight your neighbor, but you can't fight God. You can't fight God. It is going to happen. When it happens, they are going to be slain. He's going to annihilate them. The corpses are going to be unburied. They're going to stink. So whether this is meant literal or whether this is figurative, okay? Don't think it matters. The truth of the matter is this total victory language. It's total victory language. There is no escape. All of the armies are going to be defeated by God. They're going to be wiped out. And we're giving description here of what it is like. And then all the stars in the sky will fade away. The stars in the sky are representative of the heavenly realm. So this is going to be all the forces in the heavenly realm. So there is a matter here where we're not necessarily looking for stars to disappear from the sky. I believe we're talking about all of the nations who are coming against God. We have a battle that's happening there. All of the divine heavenly beings who have come against God also going to be wiped out. So this is a parallel on earth as in heaven. That's what we have here. On earth as it is in heaven. The sky will roll up like a scroll, and all its stars will wither, like a leaf withers and falls to the ground, like a fig falls from a tree. So it's going to be like, boom, it's that time of season, and it's over with and done like that. Indeed, your sword will slaughter heavenly powers. Look, it now descends on Edom. So we have all nations. We have the heavenly realm, and now we're going to fix on one particular enemy. Now, maybe the next chapter will go into another enemy, but here we're going to have a singular enemy. Let me see the footnote here. Your sword is drenched in the heavens of Qumran. Your sword appeared in the heavens, but this is apparently an attempt to make sense out of a difficult metaphor. My sword has drunk its full in the heavens. The host of heavens refers to the heavenly luminaries, the stars, planets among them, that populate the divine heavenly assembly in mythological and pre-scientific Israel, though. They are viewed here as opposing God and being defeated in battle. Yep. That's what I was saying. Edom is mentioned here as epitomize the hostile nations of God. Yeah, so we're picking on one that's a personification of all the nations coming against God and his people. So we have that, and they're coming, and so they're going to be annihilated. The Lord's sword is dripping with blood, so we have parallel here. My sword slaughters heavenly powers. My sword is dripping with blood. Well, the heavenly powers wouldn't have blood, so now we have it is dripping with blood. It's going to be the earthly powers. It's covered with fat. It drips the blood of young rams and goats. So is here the young rams and goats. It's covered with the fat of the ram's kidneys. That sounds like sacrifices. Oh, yes, indeed it is. For the Lord is holding a sacrifice in Basra. Let me see what the footnote on Basra is. Judgment of Edom is compared to a bloody sacrifice. Okay, thought you were telling me what Basra was. I read the description and knew that's what they were doing. A bloody slaughter in the land of Edom. Wild oxen. So wild oxen will be slaughtered. Let me see if they have anything there on the wild oxen and the strong bulls. Will go down, shall be struck down, and bulls shall be... No, they don't have anything there. So wild, I think, is one of the keys that's going to be here, a piece of it. A wild oxen. There is a particular one that is out there that is referred to as the wild oxen. It's out there. It's not one that is tame. It's in the wilderness. And strong bulls would have been those that you have raised up to be fertile for your herd. These also could be perhaps references to symbols of other nations' gods. So we could have that the bulls of Bashan, the enemies of God in some of that. There could be some reference there in the animals, and, we're just sliding it in. The land is drenched with blood. The soil is covered with fat. So drenching with blood. Why? Because the blood is being poured out from all of the sacrifices. So you slaughter the animal for having a sacrifice, and you pour the blood out in a certain, and then there's part of the fat that is going to get around from all this happening. A time when he will repay Edom for the hostility towards Zion. So Edom has been doing things against the people of God, against Zion, against Jerusalem, against his dwelling place. So it is time for that to come about. Edom's streams will turn into pitch. Okay, I don't think this is meant literal. But pitch is not anything you want to drink. It's not viable to drink. her soil is going to turn to brimstone. If your soil is full of stones and or salt or other stuff, it's going to make it like next to impossible in order to be able to farm. So your streams are dried up, you'd have no water. Your soil is turned to brimstone, you can't produce a crop. Her land will become burning pitch. Okay, so now the pitch is going to catch on fire. So instead of having a river that is water, you have a river that is fire. Like, this isn't good. Again, think this has to clearly be metaphor. We're talking about the destruction, the judgment of God coming upon them. Night and day it burns, the smoke will ascend continually. Generation after generation it will be a wasteland, and no one will ever pass through it again. So it's going to become desolate. God is going to destroy it. It will not be rebuilt. Then we're going to get new inhabitants here. Owls and wild animals will live there. All kinds of birds will settle there. The Lord will stretch his hand over her, a measuring line to ruin and a plumb line of destruction. Her nobles will have nothing left to call a kingdom, and all of her officials will disappear. Her fortress will be overgrown with thorns, thickets, and weeds will grow in her fortified cities. So all the best places, all the places you spent the most time working that are the farthest and the remotest from anything that is wilderness, it's going to reach there. There's no escape. Jackals are going to be there. Ostriches are going to be there. Wild dogs are going to be there. Wild goats are going to be there, bleating for one another. They're mating. The wild goats are going to be mating there. The nocturnal animals will rest there and build their nest. Owls building a nest. Hawks building a nest. Why is this building a nest thing? Because it is now their dwelling place. They are the ones who have settled it, and they're going to stay there. Not one of these creatures will be missing. Not one will lack a mate. The having a mate is going to ensure multi-generations are going to dwell there. The Lord has issued a decree, and his spirit gathers them. So that sounds a whole lot like we were talking about, the flood, God gathering the animals, God sending the animals to Noah. Now he is sending the animals to dwell in Edom after the destruction. And it says his own spirit gathers them. He assigns them allotment. He measures out and assigns them. They will permanently live there. They will settle throughout the successive generations. So now it sounds like the promise to Abraham. Your descendants will dwell in the land. This is going to be their land. They're going to be from here to here, and it is going to be theirs. So it sounds a little bit like, and the allotment of it, like the dividing up of the nation for all of them to have a piece of it. I find that really kind of interesting, that the comparison of the dividing up of Edom when its judgment comes sounds similar to the dividing up of Canaan when its judgment comes. However, here it is animals who are the ones who are settling in there.